If you already know how to do my sew-alongs and videos, and if you'll be kind enough to watch at least one ad should it appear, which enables me to keep bringing you free content, feel free to skip ahead to go straight to the pattern spotlight. Skip ahead to the 3-minute 20-second mark. Here's a little bit about how I do my Sew With Me sew-alongs.
Techniques, I'm going to put it on the website and I will reference it in the sew-along itself. So for example, we're working on a pair of pants that has a fly front. So when we get to that portion in the sew-along, I'll do a little bit of it, in instructions in the sew-along itself, but then I'm going to refer you over to the website to go ahead and look at that video, that particular video, look it over, study it, do your own sample if you want, because I'm big on that technique binder. So go ahead and and do that, and then once you get a good hang of what that technique is, then come back onto the sew-along itself and do that particular technique with the sew-along. So that way we both kind of benefit. You still get the instruction of the actual sew-along, step by step of how to do a particular thing. But it's less editing on my part because, like I said, I'll mention it in the sew-along itself, but then I'll refer you over to the website to actually find that particular technique and go ahead, review it, look at it. And then once you master it or enough to where even you sew along, at the same time and install it in that particular sew-along that you're doing at that time. So hopefully that will be okay for you, because I think I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank everyone for watching my videos. I love to upload the videos. I love to share my knowledge. And I'm pretty sure that you guys love to get free content. So in order for me to keep uploading free content, I just need you to do some simple things for me, some very simple things. The first thing is just to hit the subscribe button. So just make sure that you hit that. So you're subscribed to my channel. Hit the notification bell so when I upload a new video, you don't miss out and you get to see it. And then also, if there's an ad on my videos, they're typically anywhere from 10 seconds to maybe up to 2 minutes. Just go ahead and either watch it or do something else you want to do in those in that particular time that ad is running. So use the restroom, go get something to drink or something like that. Because that way, if you let that ad run, I benefit from YouTube, and that way I can still keep creating content and uploading it for free. Okay. Enough of that boring stuff. Back to the sew-along. Please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And also hit the notification bell so you don't miss any uploads. Thanks again and keep on watching. Okay, so we are starting on McCall's M8099 and we're doing view A, which are the shorts. Okay, I cut out a size 22. I went up 2 sizes for the waist and I went up 1 size for the hips. So I made alterations to the patterns, all the pieces that needed it. I added, and I'll just show you this one real fast, just so you can see the alterations kind of. All right, so I added 4 inches to the length because I wanted it longer, okay? Because as you see, that's kind of on the short side, and I wanted to hit just above the knee for me. So I added 4 inches to the length. Along the crotch, I added a 1/2 inch to my crotch depth, okay, because I needed it to be longer. And like I said, I cut, extra large. This one is extra large, which is equivalent of 20 to 22, so that's why I said the 22. So the pattern pieces you will need for view A are, just going down the line, you're going to need 1, which is the pocket,
2, which is the front of the pants. 4, they call this the side front, but I call it the hip pocket. Okay, you're gonna need number 6, which is the back. You're gonna need number 8, which is the little tabs that's on the side. See if I can get a close up. Right there on the side, and that kind of holds the your hem, the folded up hem in place. So that's 8. 12 is your front casing, waistband basically. 13 is the back casing, which is the waistband basically. 14 is elastic guide for your waistline. Okay, so I'm gonna get started. I'm using twill, and it's very soft, white, has a crinkle type texture to it. It's made from rayon and nylon. I got it from fabric.com. The item number is BDA3336W. And at the time that I bought it, it was $4.50 a yard. And like I said, it is so nice. It feels so nice. I want to get some more and make everything out of it. A dress, skirt, shirt, anything, because it feels so nice. I don't even know what to tell you what it feels like. And it's probably because of the rayon that makes it feel the way it does. Some of these pieces are supposed to be interfaced. I want to say this one, number 8, is supposed to be interfaced, but I probably won't, because I want to keep this feel of this fabric. I don't even want the tabs to have any stiffer. I want to keep it all the same feel. Okay, I think that's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. All right, so just giving a status update. This is the main pattern piece, is the front. All right, and this side is the pocket. This side is the side pocket, as they call it. I'm gonna undo my pocket right here for a second so I can show you. So you basically attach the pocket right side to right side of the front, and then you understitch. You can probably see understitching, and then I clipped it, keeping the seam allowance what it was at 5/8. So just clipped into it, and then I understitched it, and then I cut off the seam allowance. Most people cut the seam allowance first and then do the understitching, but it's just, that's too much fight. So what I do is I leave the seam allowance intact after I sew it at 5/8. I clip into it with the scissors, so I'm still making those notches, understitch it, so it's still spreading, you know, just not at that smaller seam allowance. And then once I understitch it, then I go ahead and clip off the seam allowance by half, turned it to the inside, and then top stitched it. They wanted to top stitch it at a 1/4 inch. I did mine at 1/8 of an inch. I just wanted mine to be subtle. Didn't want mine to really be that noticeable, because I wanted the fabric itself. You probably cannot tell, but it sparkles. It's like metallic silver in here. I think they call the fabric snowflake or something. And you probably see it more in the sun, but it really does sparkle. It's really cute. And so I did this at the top stitch of the pocket at 1/8. Okay, so that's what sewing is about. You just try different things. All right, so then I added the side pocket, and all the side pocket is it finishes out. White on white is not good. It finishes out that hip area. So your total front pan. So now you have the complete side seam. So that's all that does. So it finishes out the side seam and gives you the other half of your pocket. So I guess that's why they call it side, because it's the side seam pocket. Okay. And so what I did with that, you're basically just attaching the pocket, because you're just going to sew the pocket bag together. You're not going to sew it to the pants. Okay. So I pinned around the pocket bag here, and that's basically what I'm going to sew. So around the pocket bag only, do not attach it to the main garment. All right, then you really can't use the pocket like that, or I mean, that's a look, you really can, but I'm just doing a pocket bag. And then once I finish that, so my pocket bag doesn't just flip around, I'm going to base my pocket in place. So at the top, at the waist, securing that pocket. See where that pocket begins. So I'll be basing, you know, so from here over like that to secure it, and then again at the bottom so it just doesn't flap. Okay, so I'll be just sewing, you know, from here, you know, across the pocket down so it just doesn't flap. So that's where I'm at. And lastly, want you to know that I did serge the edges of my bag, you see, separately, so they'll be finished once I sew them. Some people do it afterwards. I just find it difficult to do it afterwards, so I just serge them individually before I even attach them. Okay. All right, so I'm on step 13, and these are the tabs. So one is done, which is this one, and turned right side out. You can still see my markings for the buttonholes that was marked on the wrong side, like this one. So I have to make my buttonholes, and I have to base across here just to secure it. But this is what it looks like. And I didn't, oh, here we go. So I didn't mean to cut it off. I wanted to show you that in order to, this is going to be at a 3/8 seam allowance. So I did guidelines. So I would make sure that I'll be pivoting at the 3/8 marks instead of, you know, just using a sewing machine. I just did guidelines. So I started at about, you know, inch and a half away. And that's one pivot, that's one pivot, and that's one pivot. All right, so once you do that, you know, you just trim it and then turn it, trim all sides, turn it right side out, give it a good press like here, poke out your corners obviously, and then baste the end. But this is just the real reason why I came on here, because I wanted to show you about using guidelines when you have to make pivots. So you'll be sure that you're pivoting on that particular guideline. Okay, so back with a quick status update. Lots come along since the last status update. So I think I left off at the tabs. So the tabs, basically they told you to put it like that, sew it, flip it down, and iron it, right? But typically with tabs, you would sew here, you know, to keep the tab down. But I'm thinking they didn't want you to do that because they didn't want you to have two lines on the front. So all I did was still, you know, brought it down, but I just secured it to its seam allowance. Okay, and so that way it has a nice finished look facing down instead of that can crop up. Okay, so that was that. And then they told us to sew the inseam together, and this is all on one leg. Okay, still working on one leg, front and back pattern of one leg. So sew the inseam together. Okay, do that on both legs. And then they wanted you to turn one leg inside out, keep the other one right side out, and you're gonna slip the one that is right side out inside the one that's wrong side out.
So ultimately what you're going to have is when they're together on the inside, they'll be right side together. Okay, so just know that. So always just slip, you do it this way, always slip the one that's right side out inside the one that's wrong side out. All right, and then they wanted you to sew the crotch curve. All right, so you sew it at the 5/8, and then they wanted you to sew just the curve itself, the bottom curve. Go in 1/4 of an inch, I want to say it said, and just sew the curve itself. But me, I always, even though these are baggy type shorts, I still always sew the entire crotch curve, because I believe that a lot of the stress is not just on the bottom half, but it's all the way throughout, because this is where the bulk of your tush is. So especially in more fitted pants or whatever, definitely reinforce that stitch by just going right over the original stitch again, and that's just reinforcing it. Okay, and then they wanted us to stay stitch, and of course it's white on white, so it's kind of hard to see. Stay stitch the upper edge of your waistline all the way around, and of course that's in preparation for the casing, as they call it, but I call it waistband, whatever, casing. And as always, as I was going, I serged all my raw edges. Anything that could have been serged together, I serged together, like the inseam and the crotch curve. But things that had to be done separately, obviously, like the side seam, I did it separately, and I did it separately for the pockets, and that's it. Oh, and obviously I serged the bottom hem just to prep. It doesn't say for you to do that, but I just did it to get it going, because I know I'm going, that's one of the last steps. So while I was at the surgery, I just went ahead and did that. Trying to think anything else. So at this point, I am not sure what number I'm at. Let me see if I can say it real fast. Number 33. All right, and that is joining 12 and 13 together, which is obviously the last two pieces that we have. And you're going to join it right sides together, join it at the short sides. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get this casing together, and I'll be back. Okay, so this is just the finalized garment all sewn up, and me modeling it for you. But I did not finish the waistband because I need a different size elastic, and you'll see me show it to you in just a little bit to show you that the waistband isn't finished. I'm going to show you the elastic itself. But the pants, the shorts I should say, are very comfortable. And that's probably due to the fabric. It was a very nice fabric. But just to go into the review a little bit, it is a woven fabric. I did give you a description of the fabric earlier on. I would say the silhouette is flowy and soft, and that's me showing you the elastic. It drapes close to the body. It is opaque, and it does not have any stretch. So some pattern review questions. Did it look like the photo and drawing on the pattern envelope once you were done sewing? I would say it does. Were the instructions easy to follow? Yes, the instructions were very easy to follow, very clear. What did you particularly like or dislike about the pattern? The pattern itself is fine. No changes or anything to the pattern. It was a very easy sew. Pattern alterations or design changes I made. I did add a 1/2 inch to the crotch depth. I added, went up 2 sizes for the waist and one size for the hips. And I started
out at the largest size, which is extra large, and then added those to the extra large. Okay, so those were the changes that I made. Would you sew it again, and would you recommend it? I probably would not sew it again. I think this is a one and done for me, but it is a very nice pattern, and I would definitely recommend other people to sew it up if you have not sewn this pattern up before. But you know, if I want another shorts, I'll probably just try another pattern. All right, so the final cost to sew this and how long it took to complete it. Unfortunately, I did not record it. I'm so sorry how long it took me to complete it. But like I said, it was a very easy sew. So, you know, prep time, my typical prep time is usually about 3 hours. Just seems to be sewing and ironing will probably be no more than 3 hours. Okay, and that's just my guesstimate there, because unfortunately I did not you know, record the time it took me. My apologies. I will get better with that. And the total cost to complete this, I don't have it offhand, but I'll tell you typically what it is, okay? But I don't have the total tallied yet. But the cost of fabric was $4.50 a yard. And I want to say I used less than 2 yards with this. The pattern itself was $1.99. Elastic, I did have on hand. So I don't have on hand. I have to buy it. But you know, I try to catch that on sale, so that'll be around $3. Hopefully around $3. And you know, the thread I have on hand, so I don't add that into the cost. And interfacing, the tabs were supposed to be interfacing, but I didn't do that. And even if I did, I don't include that in the cost. So you just get a rough idea of how much that project cost. If you made this pattern or intend to, or if you're going to follow along with me, please let me know in the comments. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content. Thanks again for watching, and happy sewing.